The N64 and GameCube were precarious eras. Technological advancement had meant gamers were now fascinated with these incredibly new third-dimensional platformers. Nobody wanted to play a 2D platformer in 2005, at least on a home console. That shit was so 90s. Nintendo, despite having paved the way forward with Mario 64 and Ocarina of Time, still found themselves in an odd spot, however, because 3D Mario games simply never sold as well as 2D Mario games, because 2D platformers are, inherently, more simple to understand and just pick up and play. Thus, the Wii, being a less powerful console than its competition and innately targeting a more casual audience, was primed to have more simple 2D platformers. Yada yada, you know where this was going. Donkey Kong Country Returns. A game I don't think anyone expected to see, honestly. The fact that Retro Studios, makers of the Metroid Prime games, were willing to revive this IP was quite frankly a shock. And all of our favorites were here. Donkey, Cranky, Diddy, yeah, we'll get into it more, because there's 80 levels to talk about. Jesus Christ, 80 levels! Oh my god! For perspective, the next game in this series has 63 levels, 17 less than this one. This is, by sheer volume, the biggest Donkey Kong game ever. Until a future entry, anyway. So yeah, no long introduction this time, there's just way too much to go over, and thankfully I'll be able to make most of my points in the list itself. Just know for now that I think this game is good. Hell, it's great even. But it didn't impact me as much as the other titles in the Country series. It frankly couldn't. It was a revival of an old franchise, and while it has a ton of polish and cool set pieces, it's not the AAA experience of the 90s that the original trilogy was. And that's okay. It's still up there as one of my favorite Wii games. Also, yes, I am playing the HD Switch port because it has all the 3DS content, which, thank God, because I have no way of capturing 3DS footage. Did you know I started this retrospective before this port got announced? I have no clue how I was going to rank those levels when I started this. Oh god, way too much has happened in that time frame. Alright, enough rambling. We got a ton of levels to get through, and I do recommend you at least watch my ranking of the SNES trilogy before watching this one. So are you ready? It's on! It's on like a really, really long video. Oh god, I'm so tired. Donkey Kong Country Returns is a true tribute to the original Super Nintendo game that aims to preserve its spirit. Which is a big and complicated way for me to say that the bosses in this game suck, and spoilers, the vast majority will be taking up the bottom part of this list. And out of all the boss fights in this game, Mango Ruby Run is the worst. What even is this thing? Some kinda electric eel pinata? The boss fight itself is really simple too. Just grab onto these circles and whack the arrow location, then jump on it when it's no longer electrified. It's a boring design and a boring boss. Its only competition is the thing that's controlling it, which I'll get to later. For now, let's move on.
And for years, I drifted the high seas as a pirate.
Pigeon Pirates is another really boring boss fight, just conceptually. We find out that the creatures who've commandeered these destroyed pirate ships, which I assume are left over from K. Rool's initial assault, are 3 crabs, stacked on top of each other. Yeah, this is just really lame. Imagine if a Mario boss was just 3 large Goombas stacked on top of each other. That would be really funny for like 10 seconds before you go back to stomping on it. Similar deal here. Not helping is that it doesn't exactly telegraph itself well, so figuring out how you're exactly supposed to damage it can be kind of a chore. Another boring boss on the list, let's move on.
Team Rocket's blasting off again!
Liftoff Launch is a weird level to rank because I don't know if it counts as a level. It's more like an introduction to the factory boss. In fact, a rocket section exactly like it takes place right before the final boss of the game. But instead of them just doing this and then having you fight the boss, they just have an extra level in a gameplay style almost never used. Yeah, it's weird. If this were a more fleshed out mechanic and it felt like an actual level with set pieces, I could rank it a lot higher. But since it's more or less just a level on technicality, it sadly winds up here.
No, I think you're the tar pit.
When it comes to pure and straightforward platforming levels in Donkey Kong Country Returns, I think most of them are pretty fun. Great even. A vast majority of levels discussed in this list are going to be me saying, this is good in some form or another. So when it comes to picking the worst straightforward platforming stage in the game, I'll admit I had some difficulty. But thinking it over, I realized something. I think my least favorite world in the game is the cliff. I like dinosaurs and the fossil aesthetic is cool, but the brown muted color scheme is kind of boring and the enemies aren't particularly interesting. The worst level in the cliff by far is also the first, Sticky Situation. The mechanic of this level is this tar that you have to avoid touching.
Whoa! Is that blackface, dude?
Because if you do, you become a lot slower, and you need to ground pound in order to get it off. Meaning a game about moving fast and using your momentum hits you with a hazard that just slows you down. I definitely have the least good things to say about this level compared to all the others, so I think that puts it near the bottom.
Look, Mugsy.
This spot goes to Mugglys Mound, the first boss fight of the game. He's just really simple to beat. In fact, while we're here...
Look, see?
Thuglys Highrise is a recolor of Muggly. His boss fight is slightly more mechanically complex than Muggly, but otherwise he's the same. Just wait for his back to be exposed and then jump on it. Thuggly can breathe fire, however. Thank you for keeping the tradition of boss recolors alive, Retro Studios. At least you put him in a new arena, which is more than the original Donkey Kong Country at least. The Mole Train is another boring boss that is only saved from further mediocrity by the cool background it's got going on. Fighting it on a moving train through a mine is at least a cool set piece. Even if the fight itself is just a boring game of literal whack-a-mole. What even are these moles doing here? There are no moles in Donkey Kong Country. Although, come to think of it, they were in Donkey Kong Land, but Donkey Kong Land also, acknowledged it was a game? So is this game technically a part of the land continuity? Whatever. As long as you don't fall off the train, the boss is easy.
In the tiki room, in the tiki room.
Putting the final boss of this entire game so low on the list may seem mean, but yeah, no, the Tiki tribe sucks. They just suck. They're a bunch of wooden dolls brought to life by the power of mushed up bananas, thus establishing that in Donkey Kong's world, bananas have magical properties. Which, I mean, why not? So do mushrooms. But even taking that into account, the bosses of this game are a bunch of little gremlin creatures with googly eyes who use their magic music to hypnotize the local fauna into attacking Donkey Kong. Whom they can't control because he's too stupid, I think is the implication.
Yes, cheap as it may seem, and it certainly does seem cheap.
So yeah, let's address the giant crocodile king in the room, shall we? King K. Rool was not brought back as the antagonist for this game. And this naturally left a lot of country fans confused. Why? So much of this game, from its music to its setting to even its name, is a reference to the original Donkey Kong Country. Yet its primary antagonist is just absent. People legitimately thought that Nintendo simply didn't own King K. Rool anymore, that somehow he wound up owned by Rare in the buyout. Which was never the case and was blatantly obvious even then. K. Rool was in the Pay-On games, and Mario Sluggers, so why wasn't he the big bad of this game? To this day, nobody knows. Nintendo has obviously been opaque on the subject, and Retro hasn't said anything either. If this was a decision on their part, or if Nintendo themselves decreed K. Rool shouldn't be in the game, nobody said anything. But you know what? Fine. If you don't want to put K. Rool in the game, that's okay. Just make sure whatever you replace him with is good in their own right. And thus, we get to Tiki Tong, the final fight of the game, as he takes on his ultimate form, using the magic of the bananas and his tribe's musical creatures to form 2 hands!
I've been waiting for you, Star Fox.
So our final boss is a giant head with 2 floating hands. Gee, never seen anything like that in a Nintendo game before! So yeah, not only is he a boring nothing character who's lazily stealing K. Rool's shtick, his boss fight itself is just a carbon copy of 1,000 other boss fights with the most overused boss design in video game history. And that's not even getting into the ending cutscene where Donkey Kong...
What the hell is that?
So yeah, This final boss fight sucks, and it does sadly take the wind out of the sails of an otherwise pretty good platformer. The only reason he's not lower than everything else on this list is because there's at least some interesting things going on in this fight, and it's kind of climatic, but I think most people agree the bosses of this game are its weakest part. Just like the original, hooray!
You cursed brat! Look what you've done! I'm melting! Melting! Oh, what a world! What a world!
So while I said that my least favorite world of this game was the Cliff World, and I hold to that, yeah, coming up close behind it is the last world, the Lava World. See, Donkey Kong Country Returns does something that the SNES games didn't. Due to technical limitations, the SNES Country games had to put different level themes throughout the worlds and try to justify those themes on the world map. This is partially why there were so many cave levels in Country 1, and why Country 2 went from Haunted Library to Haunted Forest to Giant Beehive. Returns doesn't do that, instead opting to have each level relate to the theme of the world in some way. All the jungle levels are jungle themed, all the beach levels are beach themed, and obviously all the lava levels are lava themed. And that's cool, I like the commitment. But it means a good number of the levels can wind up blending together. Especially if their environments run the same too much, and especially in the later worlds that just have way more levels than the earlier ones. The Lava World's levels all feel a bit too similar for me to appreciate whatever unique elements each level has. Turning what should be a glimpse into a unique experience the Kongs face while on their journey to save their island into just another lava field experience. So yeah, moving melters is a bit of a nothing level. It's hard obviously, it's the last world of the game, but it's hard in a very predictable way. You gotta jump on moving platforms through molten lava, otherwise the lava instantly kills you. It feels very nondescript to me, like you could remove this level easily from the game and nobody would feel its absence, which I think qualifies it as a bad level, or at least a filler one.
I'm not Stu!
Ruined Roos is a boss fight against a crazy killer bird whose name is apparently Stu? Okay. Anyway, he's pretty simple. You throw bombs at him and then, yeah, we kill a newborn chick. Oh well. Should not have let the evil musical instrument control you. He gets to go here because I like his design, and his fight is at least kinda interesting. Oh, his name is Stu, like stew, because he's in a pod. I get it.
Got a blast!
Mass Blast seems like a fine enough level for the beach world. Donkey and Diddy go onto a pirate ship to destroy it and defeat the crab pirates. So what's the problem here? Well, see, it's not a beach level. It's a ruins level. We've already beaten the beach and its boss. Remember how I said I like the game's dedication to keeping its theme? Well, throw that out the window for this one. Sure, we're meant to be exploring these ancient monkey ruins built by, the gods. But nuts to that, you gotta go onto this pirate ship again. Ignore that the last world is basically pirate-themed as well. You broke the rules, Country Returns. You broke the rules. The level itself is also just whatever. There's an earlier level that does a similar deal and it's much better handled. So it gets to go all the way down here.
What do you make of that totem pole on the far left?
From this point on, most of the levels in this game enter into the passable to great territory. Donkey Kong Country Returns is a very solid platformer with strong core mechanics that it doesn't really deviate from too much. It has one animal buddy and two types of vehicle levels. Its gimmicks are likewise pretty downplayed and don't really vary up the gameplay, instead introducing slight variations in platforming and scenery. It goes less for gimmicks and more for atmosphere and set pieces. Thus, my ranking is less on a scale of how much I like a given level's mechanics, and more how I like its vibes and atmosphere. Tipping Totem's vibe is totems. Big planks of wood tikis that move in various patterns. They're kind of a boring platform. This level is also the introduction to Bopadamus...
Dr. Octagonopus!
Bopadamus, the mysterious and rare climbing hippo. Weird enemy, but a funny gimmick. Anyway, the level is fine enough. Not much else to say other than I think the central conceit is kind of boring. You're going to be hearing that a lot from me in this video, so be prepared for that.
Oh, this is heavy.
Weighty Way is a cliff level with a simple gimmick. Two platforms that change in levitation depending on who or what's on it. When I say it's a simple gimmick, I mean, I remember being impressed by this in the original Super Mario Bros. For the NES. I don't mean to sound dismissive, But it's hard for me to exactly be amazed by this game's atmosphere when I've already said the cliff world is boring to me, and the level's gimmick is something that's been a part of platformers since their inception. So it winds up low on the list, sadly.
Goodness gracious, great balls of fire.
Bobbing Bassalt unfortunately just feels like another filler lava level. Nothing about it stands out or feels interesting. What is this level's defining feature? Fireballs that jump out of lava and sinking platforms. Two things that are prevalent, if not defined by their existence in other platformer games. It's not a terrible level to play or anything, but ask me to definitively state what stands out about it, and I'd have a hard time telling you.
Goodness gracious, great balls.
Tarball Fall is a level from the Cloud World, originally from the 3DS version of the game.
Whoa, is that Blackface dude?
I think the Cloud World is a bit of a missed opportunity. You could have used assets from the last special level of the game for an entire sky-themed world. But instead, you just give us a once-over of all the previous level themes. Okay. What's done is done, and I can safely say that yes, this is the worst Cloud level. It's modeled after the cliffs, and it brings back the tar from the first level. Only this time, it's a much more active hazard. It sucked there, and it sucks here. Only helped by the fact I do find the platforming and level design to be a bit more engaging. It gets to be here as a result.
Metal Gear.
Feather Fiend is the best boss in the game, entirely due to its premise. A chicken who has built a giant bipedal robot to fight you in. That is funny, and I laughed. If more of the bosses in this game were weird and inventive like this, they'd have probably ranked a lot higher. But sadly, as they are, this guy enters into the better than all the others, but that's not a high bar category. He's a chicken piloting a mecha. Oh god, that's funny. Okay, let's move along. Clifftop Climb is the last level of the Cliff World, and it's a fine enough level to end the world off on, I guess. It's just an ascent up a sheer cliff face to reach the top. Its only sin is that there isn't much else to say about it. Sorry.
Mushroom.
Springy Spores is a forest level that once again is perfectly proficient in what it does, but is sadly marred by it conceptually being a redundant level. Or to word it more like an asshole. Wow, springy mushrooms. Haven't seen that in a platformer before. Again, I want to make it clear here that the low levels on this list I do not hate. I am just indifferent to them, okay? Furious Fire lands above the others because it's once more a conceptually boring but mechanically fine level. Again, there's nothing wrong with any of the lower levels, it's just hard to really talk about them in detail. And this one is especially the case, as it just introduces you to the last world of the game. Which, as I've said before, is just kind of a thematically uninteresting one. So with how negative I've seemingly been on the later worlds of this game, the earlier levels gotta be up there, right? And they are. But not all of them. Speaking of...
You'll never guess what's for breakfast. Slop!
Sloppy Sands is a level in which you run through the beach and fire cannonballs at things in the background. I like the final bit of the level where you have to climb a tower in order to reach the goal. It even shows you the tower with the goal barrel on top of it in the background. That's fun. But once more, I don't have much to say about this level, sadly. It's fine, but unremarkable.
Through centuries of practice, the sailor has developed a perfect set of sea legs.
Tippy Shippy is a conceptually fun level that puts it above the other cliff levels. That is sadly undermined by it still being kind of boring when you get down to it. Like, oh cool, the ship got washed up here in a massive tidal wave, I guess. It's really just an excuse to do more pirate ship platforming just on the cliff level face. I'm so sorry if the bottom half of this list sounds super repetitive, but yeah, there isn't much else to say outside of that.
I, for example, need to keep refilling my water wheel or I'll power down forever.
Oh God! I'll never make it this time! This is the end!
Damn Dungeons is a ruins level with water wheels. What this means is that there are beach level enemies here, and also platforms that spin in a clockwise or counterclockwise motion. Not a terrible idea, but it's definitely missing something. Like, why not have a switch that changes the way the water flows, so that some platforms spin in another direction? Or make it rotate depending on a rhythm. I don't know, I'm just spitballing here. I do like the giant shark though, that's cool. This game could have really used like an extra animal buddy or something. Speaking of...
Jenga.
Temple Topple is probably the worst Ramby level in the game. This game seriously buffed Rambi compared to the Super Nintendo games, and it puts him into an awkward place in my humble opinion. In the first game, Animal Buddies were just optional power-ups that gave you an extra hit or the ability to make certain parts of the level easier. In the second title, they made Animal Barrels so that they could build entire levels around them. This game does an awkward middle ground. Rambi is much stronger and you're a lot less likely to lose him compared to the Super Nintendo games. And this level cannot be completed without him. Thus, they put his crate everywhere, just so you don't lose him. Which, look, either do what Country 2 and 3 did and have there be a magic thing that turns DK into Rambi for a level, or design the level under the assumption that you don't need him. The idea he's destroying the ruins around you is cool, and I like the wanton destruction, but yeah, it's kind of a downgrade from the original Rambi. Still though, other levels with him are a bit more entertaining, and I'll get to those later.
Once again, it's Topsy Turvy.
Topsy Turvy is a cloud level modeled after the forest theme, where the main idea is that the platforms rotate to a rhythm. Now, I want to take this moment to call out the Mario Wiki for telling me that the platforms of this level rotate to the music, which, no they don't. Like, I'm not musically inclined, but these don't seem to be rotating to the beat of the forest theme at all. It's not a bad level by any means, and I got the rhythm down eventually, but it's definitely not set to the beat of the music. Maybe it's like that in the 3DS version, but definitely not in the Switch version. Oh well, still an okay level, I guess. Vine Valley is the first level of the forest theme, and it's okay. But I'll be honest, the name combined with the music does make me miss some of the old enemies a bit. K. Rool and the Kremlings aren't the only absents here. Naughties, Buzzes, Slippas, they're all gone. It does keep the vines from the original, and that's nice at least, but no flock of Neckies to dodge. Yeah, I feel the absence. Like, if you're going to do a remix of the forest theme from Donkey Kong Country 1, then yeah, why aren't there any Neckies here? It just feels odd to me. I want vultures spitting coconuts at me. Anyway, let's move on.
Goodbye.
Tumblin Temple is the worst of the temple levels, which actually just makes it okay by my estimate. The temple levels are a unique idea introduced in this game. Basically, instead of a secret world you unlock by completing bonus rooms, you have to get the Kong letters of each world, and that'll unlock an extra challenge level. Beat all of them, and you'll unlock the secret Cloud World. Which is probably a good thing, because this game also borrowed from DKC1's bonus levels, in that they're boring. And the extra collectibles in this game, okay, if that's meant to be a really subtle Banjo reference, kudos Retro, but that's all I can give. Anyway, yeah, this level is fun. It's just a bunch of background platforms sinking into a pit of lava. It's sort of like a preview of the last world, but with a more colorful aesthetic, so I approve of it. It's a nice challenge for being the second world of the game and getting all the letters.
I am the Rhino. Nothing can withstand me.
Treetop Bop is the first Rambi level, and thankfully it doesn't rely on him in order to beat it. It's a really simple level, which is appropriate for the first world of the game. It's only down here just due to how unremarkable it is. I wish Winky was in this game. Hashtag justice for Winky! One of the new things this game introduced was the rocket barrels. Basically a take on the minecart sections that instead have you avoiding hazards in a more 3D oriented level. I actually really enjoy these levels overall, and I think they offer some of the game's highlights and strengths. But the worst one of the bunch is Hot Rocket. It's a rocket level in a volcano. I'll be honest here, the smoke of the rocket combined with Donkey's fur and the general red hue of everything meant I was crashing here because I actually couldn't see where my character's full hitbox was. The visual noise was that bad. But it's still a really fun set piece, don't get me wrong. It'll just be done better by other set pieces in this game.
Bees, my god.
Perilous Passage is another temple level that has a cool idea behind it that's only hampered by other levels having similar ideas. Still though, it's just a perilous climb through a sinking temple filled with lava. It's challenging and fun and all that stuff, but I want to hone in on these robot bee enemies. Because they're only in this level. They're robot bees, and they're in the temple level of the cliff world? Not any of the factory stages? Like, I can buy that this chicken scientist maybe found some of Baron K. Rulenstein's Cyborg B schematics, because as we know, the original buzz species went extinct after the death of their king and queen, and maybe made his own design based off them, but why are they only here specifically? Did you just not have time to put them in any actual appropriate level, Retro? Anyway, yeah, other than that, it's a good level. Just don't think too hard about the enemy placement in this game sometimes. The factory world is by far the best world of this game, no questions asked. But the worst level in it is Slam and Steel. Its premise is simple. It's a factory, and naturally there are machines that come down and will squish you if you aren't careful. The only reason it's here and not higher is because there's another level later on in the factory world that does a similar idea but more interesting. Still though, it's a fine level and a cooler introduction to the factory's new, more grungy look, which is fine by me. Whoa! Crumble Canyon is a good example of where I think this game shines. See, I think Donkey Kong Country Returns isn't really a total tribute to the original Donkey Kong Country. Oh, don't get me wrong, it takes a lot of inspiration from that game certainly, but its other major inspiration can be felt throughout it. What is that other inspiration? Crash Bandicoot. Now, I don't have any proof of this is just a theory, but I swear, so many of this game's art decisions make perfect sense if you imagine that Retro Studios was playing Crash Bandicoot on top of the original Donkey Kong Country and going, let's do that. Look, where do you think the Tiki tribe came from? Come on, it's right there, it's so obvious! Anyway, the point is that the ending of this level has a giant Tiki mask roll down to chase you. And while yes, something like that does happen in the first Country game, I'm willing to bet there's a lot of inspiration leading to this. It's a fun little chase near the end, which puts the level here. Come on, Tiki masks, it's right there, people! I can't be the only one to make this connection. Launch on Launch is a barrel can level in the same vein as the Bramble levels from DKC 2. Unlike that game, however, this game puts its barrel can levels into a better context. Although with the theme and setting, I guess Treetop Town is a more apt comparison. You know, we still don't know who lives in these forest villages. Anyway, it still gets to be here. It's just a fun and frantic level overall. A lot of barrel shooting action requiring some good timing.
Power Geyser!
Gushian Geyser is a cloud world based around the beach theme. The premise is simple. There are these water geysers that shoot out in bursts. They propel you upward, as well as platforms on top of them. Not a bad idea for a level, but not a terribly interesting one either, sadly. Still though, it's a fun level to play through, and getting the timing right on the geysers is enjoyable. So it gets to be here. I swear, I'll have more to say about the later levels, just go with me here, okay?
I'd sell my soul for a
minecart level. It kind of feels like Retro Studios heard me in the distant past bemoan the lack of minecart levels in the original Donkey Kong Country, and they went,
So you like
minecart levels.
say? Well, have all that
Minecart levels.
in the world! I don't understand it. James Coco went mad in 15 minutes.
So, yeah, this game has a lot more minecart levels, and I like all of them. So they're going to be crowning a lot of the higher parts of this list, I'm sorry. Still, though, I had to pick a least favorite among them, and ultimately I picked Crazy Kart from World 1. Not because it's bad, it's just the least good out of all the wild minecart sections and the crazy shit they throw at you. It's a wild and fun ride that hints to you at where the game is going. And then it just kind of peters off later, but that's beside the point.
You gotta get swifty.
Shifty Smashers is a fun temple level that has some really inventive platforming. You have these golden blocks that move in certain patterns, and you need to know when it's safe depending on their movements. I like how all the gold has DK's original arcade sprite on them. That's a cute reference. Although it does make me wonder just who or what built these temples. Was it like ancient Kongs? Cause in DKC 1 the temples had more reptilian statues in their architecture, which implied the Kremlings. You know what, I'm overthinking this. Let's just move on, okay?
Wiggle, 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 yeah.
Wigglevine Wonders is an interesting level, as it provides context to a mechanic from a DKC 1 level. These vines that moved vertically across ravines were more than likely caused by these guys. Wigglevines, weird Pikmin oniony looking plant monsters who let out little vines that we can climb on. Although it looks like us grabbing onto them causes them pain, Or maybe they enjoy it. You know what? Let's not ask stupid questions, okay? It's just a fine level that's reminiscent from the forest levels of DKC1. Lack of neckies be damned, it's still a good level.
As a child, I yearned for the mines.
You know how I said the factory world was the best world in the game?
That's what made you did.
I lied.
I mean, it is. It's thematically great and has the best core platforming levels, but man, I can't help it. I just love the caves in this game. They're all minecart levels, save for 2, which we'll talk about, but still, how can you dislike this? They also explore the lore of the Country series, combining the crystals with the more traditional caverns. I assume the moles took over once the Kremlings were routed. Either way, Rickety Rails is the first and worst of the cave levels, which should tell you just how much I genuinely like the caves in this game. Man, what a weird 180 this game did, where I'm actually upset there aren't more cave levels, and I actually like the factory levels too. Huh. I like how this game visually defines the minecarts you jump off of versus the minecarts you jump while inside of. That's a clever touch that was missing from the original game. It's a fun-ass level, but it's also the most simple of the cave levels. Thus, it gets to be here.
This is the perfect time to panic.
Platform Panic is the first temple level of this game. The platforms you stand on collapse as you land on them, and you need to move through it as quickly as possible. Once again, it reminds you of similar stages in games like Crash Bandicoot. Although granted, the premise has been done in earlier platformers before, so Still though, it's a fun level, and a good introduction to the temple level theme. Although I just realized, doesn't it overlap a bit too much with the ruins level theme? Whatever.
Riding Takru!
I feel like the cliff and the lava world both indicate a real issue some platforming games, including this one, have with pacing. In that because these are later worlds, they should therefore have more levels to indicate that the challenge is amping up, right? And, no, I think you do that just by making them more challenging. What I'm saying is, both of these worlds could have cut like 2 or 3 levels and I don't think anyone would have noticed or cared. Anyway, Red Rising is the final level before we get to the final boss, and it's fine. It's challenging and has plenty of hazards, and the last section is a big race up an erupting volcano before the lava gets you, but it sadly feels very typical of the lava stages in this game. We've already seen all these enemies and hazards before, so it's not much to look at. Still though, it is pretty fun and exhilarating, so yeah, sure it gets to go here.
You ever wonder what happens when you mix hot lava and monkey?
I'm really sorry to have to put the 2 End-World lava-themed levels so close to each other on this list, but yeah, no, this is honestly just my gut feeling. Lava Wheel Volcano is a fine Cloud World level, but it's not blowing me away. It's just another lava level, except this one has spinning platforms based on the cylinder in the background. That's neat, and it does make for some challenging platforming, but sadly, it doesn't put it over the halfway mark. Speaking of...
Welcome to the jungle! We got fun and games!
Yeah, Jungle Hijinks is dead center on this list again. I couldn't help it. It's just the median Donkey Kong Country Returns level. It introduces you to all the core mechanics of the game, including blowing, which sucks, ironically. You have to stop all your momentum and press a button or shake a Wiimote to get a random item. Sometimes it's even a not jiggy. Yeah, that's annoying, but the level itself is okay. It makes use of different background planes, it hints at the world's boss, it even references the empty banana horde from the first country. It's just a good middle-of-the-road level overall.
Welcome to Jurassic Park.
Prehistoric Path is a cliff level that is entirely saved by the fact it's also a minecart level, meaning it's automatically good by my estimate. Seriously, it's just a wild ride through a badland, ending off with you riding on top of a giant fossilized egg, then riding on the inside of it and avoiding spikes. You know, I just realized these eggs kind of look like Yoshi eggs. Which, I don't know what this says about the greater Mario universe, but that's for theorists to argue about. So yeah, good level.
Shorty, come up here and take the frame.
If minecarts can save the cliff levels from mediocrity, then surely the same is true of the lava worlds. Well, yeah, Roasting Rails is a fun-ass level that has you jumping from minecart to grass patch and holding on for dear life. It is a wild ride from start to finish. Also, yes, this is where the difficulty of the game really starts to ramp up. Although it's the last world of the game, so technically this is more like the hardest level in the game, whatever. This level in particular is a live civ. You will die a lot on this level. But it's not that bad. If you can handle DKC 2, I think you can handle this one just fine. It's just good fun all around.
Free him?
Flutterfly Away is a forest level with a simple premise. You have these giant flying tiki guys inside these little cages with platforms on their heads. Ride them as platforms. That's really funny. I don't know why they're imprisoned. Are they rogue tikis? Is that even possible? Like, it's shown they're just wooden dolls made into living things via magic banana mush. So are they actually sentient? What are these things? Anyway, it's a fun level, and I do enjoy the gimmick this time, so it gets to be here.
That fool Spider-Man thought he could stop me, but I can't be stopped.
Precarious Plateau is a cliff level that gets to be all the way up here for the simple reason that utilizes Rambi smartly. See, it has enemies in this level that actually hurt Rambi and force you off him. Furthermore, Rambi himself is not needed to beat the level. Not even remotely, thus keeping him as actually somewhat of a challenge. Not a difficult challenge really, but he is pretty much optional for this level. He's just used to unlock secrets and optional paths, which I think gets its placement right here. It may be a bit boring aesthetically like a lot of the cliff levels, but screw it, I like Rambi. Someday I'll see you again, my sweet. King of Cling is the second level of the game and highlights DKC Return's biggest mechanical tweak. Now Donkey can grab onto fuzzy or grassy surfaces and climb them. You know, like a monkey. That's a clever mechanic, and it's more intuitive than Honey was from DKC 2, so I think that alone earns it the reward of this place on the list. It's a fun new mechanic that's legitimately a welcome addition to the Donkey Kong platformers. Cannon Cluster is a fun level with a simple premise. These pirate crabs shoot cannonballs out at you, and you need to avoid them. Learning the pattern of the cannonballs coming at you is pretty tricky, and the last leg of the run is a legit trial, especially if you try to escort the barrel across. Don't get hit now, it's just a wild and crazy level that'll test your spatial awareness and timing more than any other. Only held back by, yeah, again, it's a 3D hazard operating on a 2D plane. So much like with Cannon Hazard from DKC 3, this one can be a bit hard to know exactly when it's safe. There's an explosion effect to more effectively communicate it, but it's still not perfect. Good enough to be here, though. Button Bash is a terrifying temple level, where you must hit switches in the proper order and avoid the dangerous spikes to pass. But be warned, for this temple holds the most terrifying and dangerous creature of all. The Hummingbird! Fear as they lock onto your location. Writhe in terror as they peck at you with their tiny beaks. Can 20 hummingbirds beat one gorilla? The answer may surprise you. The answer is no, of course not. Still though, it's a really cool level with a lot of barrel can action, so it gets to be here. Still pretty fun.
I'm sitting on the dock of the bay.
Peaceful Pier is the first real rocket barrel level of the game, and I think it shows off the potential of it fairly well. It's basically taking the Crash Bandicoot approach of avoid all this shit and be impressed by our graphics to the next level, which I do really appreciate. It's just a fun ride where you get to see the bosses of the world. Those terrible, terrible, uninteresting bosses. Yeah, look, I'm sorry, the pirate crabs are dumb, but the level itself is cool, so it gets to go here.
What did I tell you to do? To make good graphics. Good graphics!
Sunset Shore is a cool level that gets to show off Country Returns graphics in a way that the original Country couldn't have. You just couldn't have done something like this with sprites back then, and it makes such an otherwise unremarkable level compelling. I really like that they made DK's tie pop against the rest of him. Not only is it a fun quirk, it helps you, the player, notice where he is in the level more easily. It's just a cool level all around. The only thing I kinda dislike is that I wish the level transitioned to night near the end, as like a reference to the original. We see in later levels that they can do similar transitions, but, well, no use crying over unspilled milk, or something.
It's not a liquid! It's a great many pieces of solid matter that form a hard floor-like surface! Ah!
Jagged Jewels is one of the more challenging temple levels. There are just a ton of hazards, enemies, and spiky platforms set to timers that you need to be on the lookout for. It's another one of those live civs that really puts the players to the test on their platforming skills. I was playing on modern mode, because I figured why not, and I still died multiple times just from losing hearts. If you can get to the end of this level without taking a hit, then kudos to you, sir. You're probably a better gamer than I.
Well, watch this.
Cog Jo is a level with a simple but entertaining premise. It's a factory level full of these rotating platforms that you need to jump and grab onto. I like how they use green chains instead of grass for these platforms you need to grab onto. That's a cute touch. It also introduces a unique gimmick of the factory world. You basically need to find giant plugs in 3 levels for you to progress to the world boss. So there's a bit of an exploration element to it, sort of like the Lost Woods from Mario World. I like it when a platformer does something unique with the overworld, and that's a fun idea. It's no Ukulele in the Impossible Lair, but it's something. So yeah, Cog Jo gets to be here.
Oh no. It's okay.
Crushing Columns is the first level of the Cloud World. Its mechanic is simple. You have a teetering platform that moves left or right depending on where you stand. That's a neat idea, and they do some clever things with it. I like this bit at the end where you need to move quickly, or these giant tiki totems destroy you. Where did these things come from anyway? Are they like the Tiki tribe and are basically stone things given life thanks to bananas, or... yeah, don't think about it. It's just a silly video game. Let's move along.
Legends of the Hidden Temple.
Wonky Waterway is a fun and simple ruins level. Appropriate as it's the first of the ruins levels. You just pull a lot of levers, dodge a lot of falling pillars, and avoid some collapsing platforms. A fun and energetic level overall that serves as a good introduction to the ruins world. I don't got much else to say other than I enjoyed it.
All the way up to the Canopy.
Canopy Canyons is the first barrel can level of the entire game and the jungle world, and it's a pretty fun introduction to the concept. Now yes, the general simplicity of this level may make it seem like a prolonged QuickTime event, but I don't care. I like it when the game varies it up at times, and this is a highlight for me, so this level gets to be here.
Ugh. Where did they come up with this stuff?
Itty Bitty Biters is the introduction to these guys. Little fuzzy things that bite called toothberries. And... axe. I'm serious, that's what they're called. Axe. And these guys that are a bunch of them on top of each other are called an ack stack. I'm sorry, what? Yeah, this level gets to be here entirely because I find these goofy little guys funny. They're just such a weird enemy to introduce in Donkey Kong Country. Are they like tribbles? Do they just multiply ad infinitum? Does Donkey Kong need to kill these things so rapidly or else they'll just consume everything on the island? I legit want to know. Thus, it gets to be here.
Well, it might be sod off.
Grip and Trip is a really cool minecart level with a unique twist. Sometimes you're on a minecart, while other times you're grabbing onto grassy surfaces, including the one being held up by a train. Which, shouldn't that one be the green chains from the later factory level? Whatever. Actually, wait, no, not whatever. How does this thing exist? Why does it exist? Were the moles transporting sod? Is that what's happening? I could actually believe that, but I just want to know. Switching between the minecart and the hanging cart is naturally a lot of fun. It makes some of the platforming decisions pretty exhilarating. Thus, it gets to go right here.
I got you a present!
What's in the box, Jokey? What's in the box?
It's a surprise!
Spiky Surprise is a level in which you need to hit a button to jump on a platform and avoid getting the titular surprise. The platforms are usually timed along with a ticking sound as well. However, the actual surprise comes at the end when the giant wall of spikes comes behind you and tries to skewer you. I should mention, this is not the fun kind of surprise. For Donkey Kong anyway, for you it's pretty good. Just a fun timing level overall.
The boulder feels conflicted.
Boulder Roller is the best cliff level due to the one simple fact, it has an interesting gimmick to it. These spiked rocks that roll along the background and come down from the top and bottom. They're a pretty interesting hazard all things considered, especially the freaking huge one at the end. Good God, where did that thing even come from? Who made these? The fossil monsters? Anyway, pretty great level, even if the color scheme is still kind of boring.
There's no way you can jump that shark with your water skis. Hey, I've got to try, Richie.
Poppin' Planks is officially where Donkey Kong jumps the shark. But yeah, it's a great level. It's basically a preview of everything to come your way in the later part of the beach world. Ships, pirate crabs, a whale. Okay, most everything. It's just a solid level overall. You know, I just realized this level also introduced balancing platforms like Weighty Way. Man, this game really starts to run out of gas the further you get into it. Oh my god, Rocky themed levels overtake all the other level themes in number, and they're also the most boring? This really is a true Donkey Kong Country tribute! So yeah, this level is at least pretty good, although it does beg the question of why water kills Donkey Kong in this game. Normally I'd be okay with that since, you know, gorillas can't swim, but we've established that's not a problem for Kong, so... oh well, maybe a future game will rectify that.
Can I have my hands back now? No! You're not nice!
Handy Hazards is a factory level themed around robot hands. We basically have a bunch of cartoon robot hands punching things, forming platforms, and moving barrels. I like it because it reminds me of those old cartoons where people just assumed factories in the future would just be silly robot hands doing all the normal people jobs. It's funny that I actually don't think Country 1's factory theme fits this level at all. It's too threatening and atmospheric for a factory this goofy. We need like Powerhouse playing in the background of this world or something. Yeah, that makes sense. Oh well, still a good level. Oh, but if I could nitpick once more, what's up with the creepy robot eye in this level? It feels like we should have done something with him, like we shoot a laser beam at it and it blows up or something. It follows us throughout the level and I don't think we actually deal with it. Yeah, well, whatever.
On top of Old Smoky.
Smoky Peak is a level that actually sells you on the artistic merit of the volcano theme. 'Cause look at it! With the characters and enemies all silhouetted, you can finally take in just how beautiful that skybox is. It's legitimately a breathtaking level. So much so that I don't even care that Rambi is poorly implemented. The visuals and the use of lighting alone manages to sell this level so hard, it almost makes me mad. Like, so many levels in this world are so boring and bland, and this one is legitimately gorgeous to me, and you only do it once? I mean, yes, they actually do this trick 3 times throughout the game, but why not more for this world? Or find some other way to make the volcano interesting? I don't know. Either way, its visuals put it all the way up here.
Machine gun jubblies?
Blast and Bounce is an absolutely brutal temple level. A ton of spinning blade tikis, a bunch of bouncing tires, I caught that reference, and just a ton of barrels that destroy themselves when launched. This level demands you do it in one go, and do it freaking well, cause if you fail, it's right back to the start. Oh yeah, did I mention? The temple levels have no checkpoints. Do them in one try, scrub. You lose Diddy Kong? Too bad. Speaking of the checkpoints, can I say it's weird they gave us this random new pig NPC for them? Like, I understand why you made Cranky the shop, and I get why Funky is doing his normal flying thing, since world travel is not much of an issue now or anything, but why can't you have Candy do the checkpoints? The pig is even at the same kind of stall she was in DKC 1. Was that some kind of Nintendo decree? They thought she was too scandalous? Is it the same with K. Rool? Who at Nintendo finds K. Rool sexy? Oh right, Blast and Bounce. This is just a really fun level, honestly. It's definitely another one of those live civs. Sorry for going off on a tangent there. It's just, some of the decisions in this game, man, I just don't know. Mole Patrol is a really fun rocket barrel level. It's basically you following the later boss of this level through their mine, ending off with a big chase through a tunnel that they're drilling. I like how the moles are just inflating balloons to get at you as you go flying by. Like, what the hell? You guys are determined, aren't you? Part of me does wonder if these moles are responsible for all the crystal caves being gone, though then again, that was just one level in the snow world. Oh yeah, this game doesn't have a snow-themed world at all. I wonder if a later game will rectify that.
Watch out for that! Tree!
The appeal of Clingy Swingy is a simple one. You grab onto a large house, and it swings you all the way around as you hold on for dear life. It's like King of Kling's design, but upgrade and taken to the next level. And it's just a super fun level because of that. Easily one of the best that the Forest world has to offer. Although obviously, not the actual best, which we'll get to. Five Monkey Trial is a very unique temple level. It's basically 5 different platforming challenges based on different fruits. The most challenging one being the cherry one, where you need to avoid these bats, I think? Anyway, it's probably the only level in the game that hands you the not jiggies as you beat it. So it's ironically one of the easier temple levels overall, and the easiest one to 100%. But that's honestly fine since it's basically the original game's victory lap, before the actual new victory lap was introduced. Speaking of...
So fruity, they'll really turn your head.
Whoa, I'll say.
I don't know how hot a take this is, but I was really disappointed in the Golden Temple when I first got to it on the Wii version of the game. Don't get me wrong, it's a unique level with a bunch of new assets and a world theme going on. You have a bunch of floating fruit in the clouds. Is this supposed to be where Jungle Beat actually takes place and not my dumb fanfic? Huh. Anyway, it's a unique level and theme, but it really sucks that it's the only level with it. I'm just saying, Mario gives us entirely new worlds to play through when we get all of its collectibles. But then the 3DS version came along and gave us a new world. And the HD version gave us an update to that world. But even then, it's still a bit disappointing they couldn't just give us a bunch of levels with this unique theme and asset base. Why not throw in a new boss too, or maybe just a boss rush level? I don't know, oh well. It's still a unique level theme and a cool premise, don't get me wrong. It's a nice final level you get to play in. I liken it to the metaphorical cherry on top of a pretty good banana split sundae. I just wish they did a bit more with it for the game's re-releases. Tidal Terror is pretty much what I think that one GBA DKC3 level should have been. A level in which a series of waves crash against the shore. You need to find cover or else you get taken out with the tide. It's a cool background that actually interacts with the foreground. I like how the tides also take out enemies that are out in the open. A lesser game might have just made them immune or phase through it, but not this game. It's legit kind of harrowing to have to rush through and get to the end before the waves come crashing in. Just a very strong level conceptually, which puts it all the way here. Music Madness is a lot like Slam and Steel, just with the difference that it's themed around percussion instruments. And unlike Topsy Turvy, I can confirm this one does in fact move to the beat of the background music, which is really cool and really fun to play through. Having to time your way through the jets and the hammers and the drums is just really fun. I especially like the end where the giant hammers just send you flying upward. That's a really cool set piece. All this and more is why it gets to go here.
We're running on fumes!
Fumes! Foggy Fumes is probably the best of the silhouette levels because it actually relates to the level and overworld. The level itself is just really fun to get through, and is that Mr. Game & Watch? What? Why is he here? Is this Master Hand's doing? It's just a little Easter egg. I mean, there's nothing else in this level that— Wait a minute! Anyway, the level is just really cool to look at, and it's pretty fun to play through too. But then at the end, you hit this button and, oh, all the fog is, and the factory! The entire factory is clear now, and you can enter! That's genius. It's the kind of smart level and world design that puts it here, right below the top 10.
It's just as well he might be hungry.
Don't worry, whales don't eat clownfish, they eat krill. Swim away! Oh look, krill!
Blowhole Bound is a simple and fun level with a basic premise. You hop onto your whale friend, who takes you to the end goal. Slap his head and his blowhole sends you flying upward. Use this in conjunction with some clever level design, and you have a pretty fun, inventive auto-scroller. Retro, I swear, if this whale was a reference to Diddy Kong Racing, I will give you all the accolades. It's just a fun level with a neat premise. Ride the purple whale to the very end. Thanks, big buddy. You were a real help.
Not yet, Snake! It's not over yet!
Gear Getaway is a rocket level in a factory, so obviously, it's peak. It's just a hugely fun, entertaining ride through the factory stage. I don't even care if a lot of the hazards are automated, because it makes sense. Just having to dodge all the rotating platforms and moving bits makes for such a fun chase scene. It's a great rocket level, although not the best rocket level, as we'll come to find out. Bombs Away is just a great minecart level. I don't even care that getting this O is annoying because I can't get down the timing. Just having to avoid all these moles' bombs and having to adjust on the fly is super thrilling. Plus, instead of these moles trying to stop you by goofily tying balloons to themselves, they actually do try to stop you. Like this last mole in particular.
Oh god, no? Heh, I still made it. Now take this, my ultimate attack, Mega Ultra!
What a maroon. I don't know why they made a track of rail like this, but I ain't complaining. It's just a great roller coaster ride from start to finish.
Well done! Now I challenge you to a race!
Donkey Kong Country returns its at its best when its levels are putting you against something, or something effectively cool is going on in the background. And Stormy Shore is a perfect example of this. You're just rushing to avoid the wrath of this giant octopus enemy. Again, if this is meant to be a Diddy Kong Racing reference retro, then you get a gold star. But anyway, avoiding the destruction caused by this giant octopus while jumping from broken ship pieces in turbulent weather, you just couldn't do something like this on the SNES. Not effectively, anyway. This guy should have been the final boss of the world, not Crab Stack or whatever. It's just a cool-ass level that pits you up against a dynamic hazard. What's not to love?
Sunshine, lollipops, and rainbows. Everything that's wonderful is what I feel when we're together.
If you have severe arachnophobia, you might want to look away. Cause Muncher Marathon is sort of a nightmare. It seems like a normal forest level, but what's with these orange orbs? Oh, I need to break these wood blocks. Well, I guess, oh dear lord above. So yeah, you need to run away from the massive swarm of spiders chasing you. That's pretty terrifying, not gonna lie. I legit wonder how these balloons are saving DK's life here. Is this Squidder's fault? I thought we were buddies, man! Anyway, yeah, these spiders have it out for you. Get through the level as fast as you can, or else. Not a good time. For DK, anyway. For you, the player, it's a thrilling chase through the trees. A perfect capstone to the forest level, before you face off against a really shitty boss. But let's not think about that right now.
Lamp oil, rope,
Got him!
Mischievous Moles is basically a sequel to Bombs Away. At first you think it's a minecart level, but oh, those trolls! So yeah, it goes from a minecart level into an actual platforming stage, involving bombs flying at you from every direction, front and back. And it's not like minecarts are gone. It's a straight up hybrid level, which is really cool and really fun. It's definitely one of the best the Cloud World has to offer. But it's not the best. No, that award goes to... Robo Factory is a cloud world that's got it all. Barrel cannons, launching platforms, tricky enemies, and all the while you're building Mecha Donkey Kong. It would've been so cool if the last boss fight was like Mecha Donkey Kong versus a giant tiki. That might be an actual boss fight worth a damn. Or maybe I just like giant robots, who knows. Mecha DK actually reminds me a bit of Mecha Kong from the Godzilla franchise. Probably an intentional nod if I had to guess. Either way, great level. Thanks for the save, giant metal buddy.
And I'll win that fight!
Treacherous Track is the best of the temple worlds, no questions asked. You need to jump in front of these markers to activate extra track, so that the platform you're on can keep going. It's basically an evolution of Trick Track Trek's design from DKC 1, only with the added mechanics of returns and the temple's general difficulty. It's just a fun level. Although out of the temple levels, it probably is the easiest. I only died in it once. But I'd say it's still challenging enough for most normal players. It gets to go here at number 3.
And a voice was screaming, "Holy Jesus, what are these goddamn animals?"
Remember how I said that this game was very obviously inspired by Crash Bandicoot? Well, this is my smoking gun evidence. Because Crowded Cavern is a Crash Bandicoot level. It's a rocket level where you're pursued throughout by a giant freaking bat. Where did this thing come from? Was that always there? Him and his ilk don't take too kindly to you Kongs disturbing their slumber. Avoid his supersonic attacks and the patterns of his kin. Seriously, it's just a super fun roller coaster level, and I love his design. He's just really goofy in all the right ways. Great design, great level, there's not much else to say other than it's one of my favorites. It was actually going to be my number 1 for a while, but I realized I probably shouldn't give it to a rocket or minecart level, no matter how much I personally like them. Which only leaves one level in this game as my personal favorite. Again, it's just one of those weird process of elimination type deals. I put on all the other levels I think are great, and all I have left is this one, and yeah, I think this is the best one. Switcheroo is a strange level. It's only one word for one thing, which is already breaking with convention, but it also has these red and blue switches on the walls. Move in front of them, and they change which platforms are available to you. It seems like a very basic premise, but they do a lot with it. Knowing when to move through them and when to avoid them is key to getting through this level. Sometimes they're necessary, sometimes they're hazards, sometimes they're pieces to a puzzle. They're seriously just a really neat mechanic. You can even use them to defeat normally impossible enemies. I already stated I like the factory world the best in this game, and this level is a prime example of the factory design taken to the extreme. It's just an incredibly entertaining level that I think showcases what Donkey Kong Country Returns has to offer. Not the same experience as the SNES titles, but good in its own right. Thus, it gets to be here. My pick for the best stage in Donkey Kong Country Returns. So that was DKC Returns. A pretty fun game if I do say so myself. Should you play it? Probably. But if you already own it on the Wii or 3DS, however, don't bother. This HD port is just here for people who missed out on it, and it doesn't offer too much. The cloud exclusive levels are good, but they're not worth writing home about. Still though, it's a pretty great game overall, and I do recommend that you play it if you haven't. I hope that you all tune in next time, so you can chill out.
The Iceman cometh. I'm afraid that my condition has left me cold to your pleas of mercy. You are not sending me to the cold. Yes, kill them! Kill them! Yes! What killed the dinosaurs? The Ice Age! I was hoping you'd drop in. Freeze well! Stay cool, bird boy.
Breezy. I'm feeling hot.
I find that unlikely. I hate when people talk during the movie.